Hello and welcome to another video produced by the CQI Department with Child and Family Services with the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Today's video is regarding the NFOCUS Legal Status Discharge Reasons. After today's video, you should be able to select the appropriate discharge reason, understand changes for 2 of the discharge reasons, and what to select for OJS youth transferring to probation. When a case closes, a worker will open the program person window to change the legal status for that youth. Non-ward is selected and a date is entered for when the youth became a non-ward. A 4th box appears after non-ward is selected and it is asking for the reason a youth discharged from care. This video will go over these reasons and how and why to select certain reasons depending on your unique and specific situation. The following are NFOCUS legal status discharge reasons: adopted by foster parent, adopted by other non-relative, adopted by a relative, adopted by step-parent, custody transferred to adult court, custody with custodial parent, custody with non-custodial parent, death, guardianship with relative, guardianship with non-relative, independent living achieved, institutional discharge, join the military, lack of cooperation with voluntary program, left voluntary services program, marriage, no longer eligible, reach the age of majority, residing with guardian, runaway, and transfer to another agency. I would like to point out adopted by foster parent and residing with guardian will be changing on NFOCUS on July 13, 2014. Adopted by foster parent will become adopted by non-relative foster parent and residing with guardian will become returned to guardian. Again, these changes take place on July 13, 2014. We will now start to go over each of the discharge reasons. The first one is adopted by foster parent, which will become adopted by non-relative foster parent on July 13, 2014. The definition for this is when a youth is formally adopted by a foster parent and this has been ordered and finalized by the court. A foster parent is defined as a person or family who acts as a parent and guardian for a child in place of the child's natural parents, but without legally adopting the child. Second reason is adopted by other non-relative. The definition for that is when a youth is formally adopted by a non-relative and this has been ordered and finalized by the court. A non-relative is defined as a person whom is not connected to the youth by blood or marriage. The next reason is adopted by relative, which is defined as when a youth is formally adopted by a relative and this has been ordered and finalized by the court. A relative is defined as a person connected to the youth by blood or marriage. The next one is adopted by step-parent. The definition for this is when a youth is formally adopted by a step-parent and this has been ordered and finalized by the court. A step-parent is defined as the spouse of a parent by a subsequent marriage. The next discharge reason is custody transferred to adult court, which is defined as legal jurisdiction for the youth is transferred to adult court and this has been signed and approved by the court. The next reason is custody with custodial parent, when a youth reunifies with the custodial parent and the court has approved and closed the case. The next reason is custody with non-custodial parent, which is defined as when a youth reunifies with the non-custodial parent and the court has approved and closed the case. The next one is death. The definition for this is when a youth or child in the CFS case dies. The next discharge reason is guardianship with non-relative, which is defined as when a youth has achieved formal guardianship with a non-relative and this has been ordered and finalized by the court. The next reason is guardianship with relative, which is defined as when a youth has achieved formal guardianship with a relative and this has been ordered and finalized by the court. Next is independent living achieved, which is defined as when a youth achieves permanency through independent living and this is approved and ordered by the court. Institutional discharge is defined as when a youth is released from the Youth Rehabilitation and Treatment Center, YRTCs, without subsequent supervision and monitoring by a DHHS caseworker. Following this type of release, the juvenile is no longer under the care and custody of DHHS OJS. I would like to point out it's important to take a critical look at what is leading to a youth discharging from the YRTCs. With the changes of LB 561, a youth discharging from the YRTCs on probation would fall under the transfer to another agency discharge reason. Please refer to your supervisor or send an email to dhhs.cqi@nebraska.gov should you have any further questions. And stay tuned for future videos regarding OJS-specific issues surrounding LB 561. The next discharge reason is join the military, which is defined as when a youth has emancipated and formally joined a branch of the military and has completed basic training. The next one is lack of cooperation with voluntary program, which is defined as when a young adult has not cooperated with the program rules for the Bridge to Independence program and due to this is not eligible to participate in the program. This is only for young adults involved in the Bridge to Independence program, ages 19 to 21. Next is left voluntary services program, which is defined as when a young adult has voluntarily left the Bridge to Independence program. This is only for young adults involved in the Bridge to Independence program, young adults aged 19 to 21. Next is marriage, which is defined as when any child in the custody of the Department of Health and Human Services under the age of 19 has gotten married. No longer eligible is defined as when a young adult is no longer eligible for the Bridge to Independence program. This is only for young adults involved in the Bridge to Independence program, young adults ages 19 to 21. Reach the age of majority is defined as when a youth has reached his or her 19th birthday. The next discharge reason is residing with guardian, which will become returned guardian on July 13, 2014. This is defined as when a youth has been removed from a specific guardian and then is reunited with that same guardian. The next option is runaway, and this is when a youth is on runaway status and the court closes the case and terminates jurisdiction due to the runaway status of the youth. And finally, transfer to another agency is defined as when legal and/or jurisdictional custody transfers to another agency outside of the Department of Health and Human Services. Examples for this reason would be the youth transfers to a Native American tribe or to another state, as well as when an OJS committed youth transfers to probation per LB 561. This is the complete list of NFOCUS legal status discharge reasons. Make sure to critically think about the specific reason that led to the non-ward status for your youth and make the appropriate selection on NFOCUS. So in review, make sure to review the list of legal status discharge reasons if you have any questions about what discharge reason selection to make when a youth becomes a non-ward. There will also be modifications for two of the reasons. Adopted by foster parent will become adopted by non-relative foster parent, and residing with guardian will become returned to guardian on July 13, 2014 and after. Until that time, use the original phrasing, but after July 13, 2014, the new language will be selectable for these two reasons. Finally, any OJS committed youth that is transitioning to probation per LB 561 would have the discharge reason of transfer to another agency. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions about NFOCUS legal status discharge reasons, please speak with your supervisor or send an email to dhhs.cqi@nebraska.gov.